means for the international community. Would that passport afford citizens of these countries the opportunity to also travel across the sub-region, I mean, without any hassle, for the very fact that they are no longer members of the regional bloc? I'm starting the conversation with Honorable Yunusaf Hussaini.
Well, Bless, let me say good morning to you, and good morning to Fifi Oforiatta, the president for Achim for Alan, yes, and then a senior advisor to Alan Shraventin. It's really a delight meeting you for the first time on the show, and also to say, well, I'm back to our numerous viewers who have missed me over the years, over the months. Now, the situation in the Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali is presenting us with a difficult, albeit almost a fait accompli, because Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso are in West Africa. In fact, by their presence, geographical location within the West African region, they ought to be part of ECOWAS. Now, ECOWAS, because of the position we have taken on unlawful usurpation of power or unlawful takeover of power, ECOWAS has failed, refused, neglected to recognize them, to the point that they have been suspended from ECOWAS meetings. In fact, and all other meetings where the regional bloc, as a bloc, encourages democracy and has established meetings for that purpose. So these three countries are not part. Even in the larger ACP, EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly, because they are not a democracy, they cannot have a parliament. Because they don't have a parliament, they cannot be part of the EU, that is European Union, African, Caribbean, Pacific Region Joint Parliamentary Assembly, to discuss matters of common and mutual interest. Now, ECOWAS took a position, very drastic position, against the coups that occurred in these three countries. The fear actually was that the coup was going to, or what had happened in those countries and started somewhere in Guinea, was going to be contagious, and that it will spread to other West African countries. And so ECOWAS took a position one, and the heads of states took a position one to be able to safeguard their own positions as head of state, because their positions were now under threat as military juntas were taking over government, democratically elected governments, and particularly in the Francophone countries. Now, two, ECOWAS did not want to hobnob with them to create an impression that they were endorsing the illegality. Okay, and that was the rash decision of ECOWAS to dislodge the coup plotters in Nigeria. You remember, and the threat of the president of Nigeria, who was then the head, to send military men to Niger to dislodge the coup plotters. Now, all these have come together to bring these countries closer. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. They had to be closer to each other for their own self-preservation. I mean, the self-preservation of the governments. They are revolutionary governments, they usurped the democratic order, except Burkina Faso, which overthrew a military dictatorship. And so the common threat that they were facing sort of work to bring them together. And since coming together, they've paid visits, reciprocal visits to each other. And the longer we continue to ostracize them, the closer they become. Because they have to be close to override whatever difficulties that have come about as a result of their exclusion from ECOWAS. And so I say that what they are doing is a matter of necessity than a choice. That look, we have been left on our own. We are not part of ECOWAS. ECOWAS has suspended us. Anything that goes on, we have to hear it from the grapevine or through the back door. Now, and we are almost close to each other. We share boundaries with borders with each other. Why don't we come together and create the greater Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Union, all of us French-speaking countries, to see how we can pursue our common agenda. And they have been talking about that, and they have been putting in place. You know, they are resolved, the three countries resolved to fight on the side of Niger. If Niger was, you remember?
Yeah.
They issued a communicated to that. Yeah. Communicate to that. And so this is a further step in trying to consolidate their relationship. Say, look, the citizens of these three countries must be identified as people from the same area, just like ECOWAS passport identifies us from the same area. They've not yet given them their union a name, or I've not heard the name yet. But what they are simply doing is to afford citizens of that country or their countries the right to travel freely amongst themselves, that is Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. And also, because they are individual countries, if you have such a passport, that passport is simply a prayer from the president or the leader, head of the country, to another head of the country to allow you a smooth passage in his country. And so, that's why in diplomacy, it's very important that with that passports, when you mean the genesis to the making of passports was that the sovereign used to give a letter to be held by the traveler to show to people that the sovereign is from a citizen of this country, and the sovereign says allow him to pass. Attack on that citizen of that country normally and most of the times led to war between those days and days before the Enlightenment. And so I think that, well, it is between the cat and dog situation. Whereas we want Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to be ruled democratically, the government in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso appear to be enjoying overwhelming support from the citizens because of the revolutionary steps they have taken. I mean, removing foreign elements from their country, almost nationalizing the minerals of their country or natural resources of their country. And so, whilst we would have hoped that there will be a democratic transition to give the people of these three countries the opportunity to choose their leaders in the free, open, and transparent elections, we are faced with a situation where these people are enormously popular in their countries and are taking the decisions that they think will inure to the benefit of the people. My worry is just that this situation cannot persist. It will change. 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, how many years, I don't know, but it will change. So when it changes, the people of Burkina Faso will revert to the ECOWAS passport. That one, I can assure you, it will happen. This is not going to be perpetual. It will change.
But also the bit about the language, they wanting to do away with the language of their colonial masters, French for that matter, how does it not alienate them entirely from the regional bloc?
No, for doing away, what they're trying to do is to downplay the significance of French, and probably to come up with a national language common to the three countries and project that as the official language. But in their universities, in their schools, they will still be teaching French and learning French. Okay? Yes, it's still a symbol of domination that we sitting here, the three of us sitting here, are communicating to numerous Ghanaians in the English language, which is not our mother tongue.
Yes.
But as a people, we ought to have developed our own mother tongue, our own language. People are identified by their language, but we have decided that it's easier. I mean, because Africans, colonial people, dominated people, we always go for the easy things, not so. We are communicating in somebody's language. And if I speak my language, you don't understand. You speak a language, I don't understand. He speaks his language, I might understand a little because I can, almost I can. So clearly, we have a problem as a country where we have chosen English language as the official language, and then the last survey I saw was that more than 80% of people in Ghana speak the language as a form of communication on a daily basis. So maybe they're trying to liberate their minds, like Bob Marley said. They are trying to liberate their minds by removing and throwing away the symbol of domination, which is the French language.
Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Yunusa Hussein, former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Let me now come to you, Mr. Fifi Oforiatta, your general thoughts on happenings in Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, and the decisions that they are taking, which they believe will be inuring to the benefit of their people.
Good morning again, Bless, and good morning to Honorable. And I just want to say hello to my leader of Movement and Change and the incoming president, Honorable Alan Kojo-Chamate, our own KOD, our running mates, and all the members of the Movement of Change. And I just want to say I'm very delighted to be on this, to be invited onto this program. When it comes to Mali, Burkina, and Niger, these issues, first of all, I'm not a big fan of military juntas at all. I mean, I remember in 1979, and even as far as like the 66 coup, when, I grew up with Nyaniba Estates. And Nyaniba Estates was where Nkrumah's mother was living with others, and I saw a little bit about what went on with the military juntas, the coup, and also in 1979, that too, I went through that, and 81 as well. So I'm not a big fan of coups at all. And I've been to Liberia. When you go to Liberia and all these Sierra Leone, the last thing you want basically is to have military juntas rule. Although the saying is that democracy is the worst form of government, but there's no other alternative. So we need to encourage our brothers over there to get back to our democracy that we know it and help them. When it comes to when you look, since the military takeovers, their economic conditions, when you look at those three countries, the economic conditions have not improved at all. If anything at all, it's a bit worse. So I mean, I didn't see the point in them, engaging in that coup. Actually, they haven't done much. And military people, they are military people, for Christ's sake. They are not, leaders who can actually look at their social, economic, and cultural fabric of their respective countries to actually really transform or make a difference, a big difference or change in there. So, and when you look at even the insecurity, for them, insecurity is still there, and the Al-Qaeda and all those people, they are still there, and they are still fighting the war. So, I mean, nothing has changed much. There's still that instability and insecurity. So therefore, what I'll say is that military rule is not the solution. And so they need to revert to the democratic rule and also get back into ECOWAS. Get back to ECOWAS. After all, issuing of these cards, it's a bit funny. It will spell doom for them. First of all, they are landlocked. All of them are landlocked countries. And if they need to come through Ghana and the rest, they need to, if Ghana decides or the other ECOWAS countries decide that they're going to implement visa restrictions or get into, I mean, what are they going to do? It's just not on at all. And all that I'll say is that they need to get back into ECOWAS and get back to democracy. When it comes to Honorable Alan Martin, in terms of diplomatic and international relations in general, for him, he's about reinforcing Ghana's commitment to the principles, programs, and activities of the AU, EU, and other regional organizations. And also, he's definitely going to adopt the principle of positive neutrality, anchored on the strategic interests of Ghana. That's very important. And our whole Alan's government, it's all going to be about economic and commercial diplomacy. Yesterday, he had an opportunity. He was invited by the consortium of prominent international trade associations in Ghana here that comprise the American Chamber of Commerce, the Ghana Netherlands Business and Culture Council, Spain and Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Ghana South Africa Business Chamber, Canada Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Japan External Trade Office, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industry France, and basically invited him to come and talk about FDI, the foreign direct investment. And one of the things that I took away that really I was very worried about was the fact that the South Africa representative indicated that they have basically, in terms of foreign direct investment, they've cut off Ghana completely because of the regime, the way the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and the way they're handling things together with the Ministry of Energy and others, the issues that they are having with them, and also the economic conditions in Ghana. So completely, there's no foreign direct investment in Ghana. And when they gave us a chart of foreign inflows into Ghana since about 1990, and it's interesting to know that in 2023 there was only 1.354 billion foreign investment.
And comparatively, if you look at that to previous years.
If you look at the previous years, let me see. let me start from probably 2008. 2008 was 1.22 billion. 2009, 2.897 billion. 10, 2.57 billion. 2011, a little bit over 3 billion. 2013, a little bit over 3 billion. 2014, a little bit over 3 billion. 2015, a little bit over 3 billion. 2016, yes, a little bit over 3 billion. 2017, yeah, a little bit over 3 billion. And then 2018, it came down to 2.989 billion. And then 2019, it shot up to 3.88 billion. And then 2020 spiraled down all the way down to 1.876 billion. And then 2021, it went up a little bit to 2.61 billion. And then 2022, it came down again to 1.11 billion. And then 2023, 1.354 billion. So we have a lot of work to do. And yesterday, seeing Honorable Alan Chematin, who has been a diplomat, has worked with the international community, especially the African. He was the architect of the after African Continental Free Trade, Enterprise Africa, and actually he made the point that with South Africa especially, he has a very close relationship with them, because in 1994, when Nelson Mandela came out of prison and became president, he was looking for about 7 experts in the world who will help him come and develop the SMEs, especially in the black communities, for him. Because that time, remember, with apartheid, a lot of the black people were cut out of these entrepreneurships and businesses. So Honorable Alan Chematin was one of the 7 experts in the world that was invited to assist South Africa. So even he actually set up what was called the Enterprise South Africa, because remember he was actually the UN after and Barclays Bank after successfully creating Epritech, which helped develop a lot of Ghanaian businesses. The UN again and Barclays Bank at that time asked him to go and develop the same business in Africa, 13 African countries. So it was Enterprise South Africa, Enterprise Egypt, Enterprise Nigeria, and the rest. So he has a lot of experiences. And yesterday, all those people who were there and their questions and the answers that he gave them definitely gave them a hope that when Alan becomes the next president, he will actually be able to push for these foreign direct investments, them to come and invest, and definitely in the GTP, he has a lot for them. So this is what I can say. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, this is the morning show. That is the newspaper review segment of the show. I have with me here Honorable Yunusa Fuseni, former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. Also, Fifi Oforiatta is the President at Chim for Alan and a special advisor to the leader of the Movement for Change. But let's move away from that topic, and I'm continuing to. I want to reiterate that your views are important. So let me have your messages, all your thoughts, your submissions on the topics that we have tabled for today's discussion. I'll be more than glad to hear from you. But let's move away from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso and come back to a very important issue here in Ghana. 2 days ago, the NDC held the Enough is Enough demonstration across the district offices of the Electoral Commission. They had noted some discrepancies in the voters register and had been calling on the Electoral Commission to rectify all of these discrepancies before the December 7 general elections. The course of the NDC, though, I would say to some extent have not fallen on deaf ears. The Electoral Commission responded with a press statement, I think yesterday at around 1 a.m. At dawn, they responded with a press statement stating that they had taken notice of the demands of that petition from the National Democratic Congress, and they are for free, fair, credible elections, and they know that a clean voters register would be one of the surest way to ensuring a free, fair, and transparent election. But we have CODEO, which is the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers. They are also an independent body. They are advising the NDC to table their concerns, their audit demands at the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, which is IPAC for that matter. I mean, Honorable Yunus Hussein is a leading member of the NDC. I'm sure there's so much he knows about this particular issue, and what the next step of the NDC would be, particularly if the EC does not yield to their demands.
We're going to continue to put pressure. It's important for you to understand that in a democracy like we have in Ghana, a register, credible register, is not common for free, credible elections. Now, even in this establishment, Pan-African TV, you are going to conduct elections. You must agree on the people who will vote. And you must know the number of people who are on the register. And so if at any time we have difficulties with the register, it compromises, or it has the potential to compromise the credibility and integrity of the elections. Now, it's important for us to also state clearly that what we are demanding of the Electoral Commission is a demand by the people of this country. Mind you, the NDC and members of the NDC are citizens of Ghana. And being citizens of Ghana, we are entitled to make demands on state institutions charged with the responsibility of delivering services. The election management body, Electoral Commission, if indeed it is interested in a trouble-free, credible, transparent elections, ought to listen. And that's what we will continue to put pressure. And I must say that NDC is very encouraged that apart from a few people who seem to be steeped in the past, many reasonable people, many people who have listened to us, have sympathized with our positions. Mind you, we are a vulnerable party in terms of the position taken by the Electoral Commission. This Electoral Commission is solely constituted by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And we have had instances to say that party activists have been moved from the party activism to be in charge of the Electoral Commission. And so for us, making the processes transparent is important. And I want to take viewers on a historical journey. And people think that what we are saying doesn't make sense, or we are interfering in the independence of the Electoral Commission. Far from that. I have never in my active political life spoken for the EC Never, because I am an avid believer of institutions. And I think those institutions should be responsible for instilling confidence in the people of this country on their ability to effectively and efficiently manage their institutions. So I've never spoken for any public institution. I said I was taking you on a historical journey. You know, when we started our democratic experiment in 1992, you recall? We had a black and white register.
I had just been born. I had just been born.
Oh, you had just been born. We had a black and white register. The color, the pictures were black and white. Transparent, opaque.
Opaque, yeah. Yes, yeah.
The MPP transparent, the opaque ballot boxes do not conduce for transparent elections because nobody knew what was in those boxes. And we, NDC, might probably have starved those boxes. We've already printed ballot papers. I tell you today, and you can go check anywhere, even their stolen verdicts never produce one iota of evidence that those opaque ballot boxes were stuffed. But it was a perception they held. And their view was that the electoral process would be more transparent if we use transparent ballot boxes. There was an electoral reform. Today we are using transparent ballot boxes. But it was the electoral commissioner under Afarijan who said, look, let's use opaque ballot boxes. I mean, there's no problem. But MPP, in exercise of the universal creed associated with democratic countries, we the people, that creed is so powerful that as a people in 1992, they thought that our election processes will be made more acceptable and more transparent if we had transparent ballot boxes. They didn't stop there. They said, today we are being told by Tete, Nikwi Tete or Tete Nikwi, what's his name? At the Electoral Commission, that you had sticks and frocks in the 2016 register. Ludicrous. MPP did not see those sticks and frocks. Samuel Nico did not see those sticks and frocks. It was only after he went to the Electoral Commission that he saw sticks and frocks in the register. How can an official, a public officer of state make such ludicrous statements and still be holding on to his post? That should tell you why we are so deeply worried. In 1992, we had a black and white register. The black and white register produced the 1992 presidential elections. We used that to conduct the presidential elections. What was MPP's beef? The black and white register was not so clear that the picture of persons on the register was not distinctive, and that it was difficult to identify clearly those people. And that if we use a color picture, the persons who captured on the register will be so vivid that it will aid in removing people or identify people who are actually entitled to vote. We gravitated. We had to cooperate. So because there's a black and white register and you had to change it to color picture, you had to do another voter registration. So we did a voter register, compile a new voter using a black and white register. Article 45 of the Constitution was still in the Constitution when those demands were being made. Article 45 gives the Electoral Commission the exclusive right to compile and revise registers. But those demands were made and they were legitimate demands. They were accepted. And we moved on. In we came to a position, a point where we said, oh, you see, when people go to vote, you have to use manual verification. You have to look at their primary documents, look at the picture they used, and look at their face, and say, oh, this is Fifi, yeah, go and vote. The MPP said, oh, manual verification can lead to a compromise of the system. So let's stop manual verification, or even anything at all. Let's use biometric verification. Again, Electoral Commission was still responsible for the compilation and revision of the register. Again, there was no evidence that the manual verifications that we used produced results that was not acceptable. But there was a perception that because the system was not so robust, it could lead to abuses. We, the people. This is exactly what the NDC is asking for. You remember the Abu Ramadan case and what the court said. You remember the people who had, not that those people were not Ghanaians, not that those people were not Ghanaians, and not that the people were not entitled to be registered. Abu Ramadan's case stands on the fact that those people whose names were captured on the register used the National Health Insurance card for the purposes of identification. And their argument in court was simply that the National Health Insurance card is a card that entitles you to service, but it doesn't prove your citizenship. And so, if you use the National Insurance card as a basis for proving your citizenship, that card otherwise is not supposed to be used. And the court agreed with it and said, well, so Electoral Commission, go back to the primary documents and see all those who use the National Insurance card to register. Remove their names, but grant them or offer them another opportunity to use the requisite card to do what? To register. It didn't say they were fake names, or ghost names, or persons who were not otherwise entitled to register. They were, but they used, by the court and the argument of the MPP, they use a document
that does not prove your
citizenship.
Yeah.
Because Article 42 says a citizen of Ghana. And the National Insurance card only entitles you to your service. It doesn't prove your citizenship. These were the electoral reforms, motivated by a desire, I think, to have a credible register. And like I said, a credible register is sine qua non. Today, and even before that, you remember Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and his charge on the Electoral Commission that the register of Ghana contained so many foreign names that some of the names had appeared or registered in Togo, in Lomé, in Togo, in Burkina Faso. You remember? And that our register was so faulty that that register, when used, could not deliver credible elections. And they sought to produce the Togo register and the Burkina Faso register were in black and white. And they sought to produce pictures on some newspapers to show that those names and pictures appeared in that register. Today, you know, so an audit was done. You know, in 2015, they conducted IEA, an audit was done. An audit was done. just based on the perception that those some names in the register were contained in the Burkina Faso register or Togo register. Today, we're not dealing with perception. We're dealing with the reality. In fact, when MPP won the elections, they even argued that the elections that we used for the 2016 election, the register that we used for the 2016 election was so bloated that it could not be a true and accurate register of the number of voters that we had. You remember? It was 12 million. We embarked on demonstrations to say, well, if you think that the register is not credible, clean it. They said no. And that by their reckoning, and there was a leading member of the MPP who was always making the calculations, your cousin. By their reckoning, if Ghanaians were going to be registered, we won't be up to 11 million. You know?
Which of my cousins?
Gabi. He was always calculating and showing we won't be up to 11 million. When the Electoral Commission finally compiled the register, we shot up from 12 to 14. To 14. And then today, the 14 million registered with all the periodic additions and limited registration. The recent display of the register showed clearly that someone or some people have tampered with the register. And they have done so without the authority of people who hitherto were on the register at particular polling stations and whose names have been transferred to regions without their notice. That's serious. It's very serious. So, I talked about the vulnerability of the NDC. Now we are talking about the vulnerability of the IT system of the Electoral Commission. Who authorizes transfers at the Electoral Commission? Because it should be impossible for an Electoral Commission's officer to sit in his office, to manipulate the system, to transfer people from one polling station to the other, or from one region to the other, without the consent of the voter. But it has happened. And just yesterday, again, we realized that it happened. It happened in Tolo. And a statement has been issued. Why are we worried? We are worried that the Electoral Commission and its stance on election matters in Ghana, and particularly matters that have been brought by the MPP, has always treated the concerns of the NDC with contempt. Is it because they were recruited by the MPP? Is it because of that? And in fact, Bosman, deputy commissioner at the Electoral Commission, once described the NDC as a threat to our democracy. So this is the same Electoral Commission that, in the face of all claims that what they were doing in 2020 will exclude SAL, Akpafu, Santrofi, and Lulubi. When we drew their attention repeatedly in Parliament, I was in Parliament, to the fact that their activities will disenfranchise this group of people, they said they were working to ensure that they were included. Today, it's a blight on the conscience of Ghanaians and the dark side of our democracy, that for 4 years you can have Ghanaians in Ghana not represented in Parliament. The same Electoral Commission. The same Electoral Commission refused to accept the fact that some of their BVDs had been stolen until we arrested one in Ashaman and another at Sawam. Then they came to agree that, oh, yeah, but they were useless BVDs. We said, oh, but you said the BVDs were never stolen. You understand? The same Electoral Commission, when we said that, when we had information that some of their laptops had been sold out, we said, but who authorized the selling out of? Did you decommission the laptops? Who decommissioned them? Because they are security tools. The Electoral Commission said, that's none of our business. You see? Now, we found errors, significant errors in the 1992, in the register. Never mind that when we made those errors, when we made claims that there were errors on the register, the Electoral Commission issued a statement, and you said yesterday they issued another statement. They issued a statement said that the register they had was credible and robust. That was the statement they issued. That was, the statement came earlier, prior to our making the details of the concerns that we had public. They then invited us to meet the commissioner and submit we demanded as a party that we've known the Electoral Commission. This is an Electoral Commissioner that changed the 2020 elections, the results 5 times. That's the Electoral Commission we're talking about. 5 times. And I've never in my short life on earth have I heard that there has been an Electoral Commission that has changed presidential election results 5 times. Never. But they did. With impunity. No one can, because they've taken their independence to absurd levels. Never. And because of the absurdity, a commissioner can actually come out and say, well, the 2016 register contained frogs and sticks. Absurd levels of impunity. So, it's clear. And I've always wondered, and I had the leader of the movement for change, now revolutionary what?
And Alliance for Revolutionary
Alliance for Revolutionary Change.
Yes.
I heard him on this matter, and I think that he was very eloquent and straight to the point.
Yeah.
Election is about the country. It is about the right of the people to choose who they want to lead them. A register for the elections is as important to the process as its credibility. And so if people are raising concerns about the credibility of the register, take action to win the trust of the people that this register is credible. You don't dismiss it. And I am saying that the call for the cleaning of the register, the call for a forensic audit, is not a call to call for the inclusion of NDC members. No, we are not saying that. And we have not also said that the deletion of the names from the register or the false transfers are NDC people. We have not said so. We have just said there are some people whose names ought to be on the register, which for unexplained reasons are not on the register. We are also further saying that there are some people who did not apply for transfers. For unknown reasons, their names have appeared at places that they don't reside and they don't vote. So what would have accounted for this? What would have accounted for it? You're asking the Electoral Commission, what would have accounted for it? Is it that your system is so vulnerable that it's susceptible to manipulation? So, escalating the debate, is it possible that when we vote on December 7th, someone sitting in his office can manipulate the system to produce an outcome that he wants? Is it possible? We need to be convinced, because we are a serious party. We are going into this election with all the seriousness that is required. With all the seriousness that is required. It is for the Electoral Commission to ensure that all the concerns that we have raised are addressed, to assure us that nothing untoward will happen, and that those officers who have manipulated the process are dealt with. Not only suspension. In fact, our Charijan has suggested that that is tantamount to subversion. Treasonable. So, and this too is I thought that the Electoral Commission would have been welcoming us to the table. They said, look, come and we'll see. Because this is about you. This is about me. This is about Ghana. Come and we'll sit down and see. But we have difficulty appreciating the posture of the Electoral Commission. Difficulty. Why? Why do you think that Afarijan lasted that long at the Electoral Commission? Why do you think that? Because he was willing. I mean, the fact of the creation of IPAC alone by Afarijan clearly was a forward-thinking move to have all these nagging issues addressed in a consensual manner at an informal forum before the Electoral Commission will take action. Today, all the institutional mechanisms have broken down, and the Electoral Commission acts as if, well, probably that's why we have reasons to worry, because they know that if Nana Akufo-Addo goes, they go.
There you go. Right. Right. Thank you very much, Honorable Yunus Afuseni. Let me read a few messages before I come to Fifi. This one here says, good morning, Bless. There should be a forensic audit of the voters register. Bless, a good friend in the MPP government, showed me an app that has been given to them by their party to transfer voters from their polling stations to different polling stations without their consent. And on a day of election, they are going to use the same app to prevent voters being verified on their BVDs. In fact, I was worried, so I contacted another friend from the same MPP, and he also confirmed it that they used this very app since 2016, and they used it in 2020. Please, this is an alert for all political parties. Timothy from Sugakope. Thank you, Timothy, for your message. Good morning, Blaise. I'm highly disappointed with the media in the sense that the key player in building our democracy for 2 days now embarked on strike, and the media stations are not seeing the strike as a threat to our democracy. Is it that the role played by the commission is irrelevant? Abdul Tamale. Thank you, Abdul, for your message. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm sent this one. He says, good morning, my brother. In my humble opinion, I don't think the NDC is asking for too much. What the NDC is simply asking for is fairness and transparency, and that is the name of the game. Madam Jane Mensah, with all people, should not be doing this, because on 28th October 2015, she held a press conference calling on Madam Charlotte Osei to allow the voters register to be audited, and their request was granted, because their request was granted, and a 5-member committee set up headed by Justice Crabb to look into the matter. Today, what has changed, my brother? According to the EC, all issues raised by the NDC has been solved, and if so, why are they refusing to give the corrected version of the register to the NDC for verification? But we live to see how it goes. Thank you, Alhaji Hamza. Good morning to you, and many thanks for always doing the watching. Good morning, Bless, and welcome back to Honorable Yunus Afuseni. It's now clear that the cathedral was not a church building, but rather they were doing galamsey. If it's not true, where did they dump the waste soil they dug out? Where is Mr. Pratt? James in Kumasi sent this one. Okay. Greetings to you and your panelists, especially my younger brother, Honorable Yunus Husseini. I think our NDC communicators should also be emphasizing that Mr. Samontete's allegations of plants and animals representing humans in the 2016 electoral roll is a lie. It was the EC sample training documents that contained those plants and animals. Okay, you didn't tell me your name, but I know you are a regular viewer of this show. All right, thank you so much for your message. Good morning, Pan-African TV. I know MPP party former branch executives in KEE who have been recruited as EC officials going into the 2024 election. Ike from Intranwa. Thank you, Ike, for your message. Good morning to you, Bless, and your beautiful panelists. We will keep on mounting pressure on the EC to do the right thing, because what is happening in 2020 or what happened in 2020 elections, we don't want that thing to happen again come December 7. My greetings to Honorable Inusa and Fifi. This is Alhaji Ali Alasan from Bukurusung in Tamale. Thank you, Alhaji Ali Alasan, for your message. This one here, and this would be the final message I'd read. Good morning, Pan-African TV. I have missed Mr. Pratt. Where is he? That he doesn't appear on TV these days. I'm Abdallah, Sibri Yungo constituency. Interestingly, you know, Mr. Pratt has been away for over a month, but there are reports that he is giving his support to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and according to the reports, he said it on this station this month, some about a week ago. They said he was here, and then he made those reports. And Paul Adumoche sat on Good Evening Ghana and told his viewers and listeners that this is what Kwesi Pratt had said, when the man had actually come out with a press statement denying and debunking this allegation of him throwing his support behind, you know, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's not even in the country to start with, and has not been present on any political platform for the past over a month and a half, if I should say. But let me come to you, Fifi, on this subject matter. I see the movement for change is also very interested in the electoral roll, the register, and the issues that have arisen from it.
Absolutely. Honorable Alan Chomote's Honorable indicated has made has issued a very clear statement supporting the forensic audit, and for me, this particular topic I have a very big interesting, because I've been an IT security auditor for over 20 years, and when I lived in America, one of the things that we did as consultants was that when the federal agencies they do the annual financial audits, KPMG and all that stuff, then they ask some of us as consultants to go and do the IT security audits for them, and to make sure that the data, their confidentiality, the integrity and available of their systems, it's intact. And actually, this whole audit, IT security audit and all these things came about when there was this old lady who actually saves at a bank, at that time Bank of America, and every month when she receives her statements, she'll look and check the cents, up to the cents. And you realize I'm short by 8 cents. Then you go to the bank and go and complain to the manager, and the manager, they will throw away, like, you go, hold this thing. But she was persistent. So every month you see a cents is short by 30 cents, 20 cents. So eventually the bank manager decided to look into investigate. And lo and behold, when they investigated, they realized that a teller who has knowledge in software, he will develop his own software and installed it in the production machine, where it was siphoning 10 cents.
A little drops of water makes a mighty
little-
ocean.
oh.
Yes. So they are just 10 cents,
Little
5 cents
drop of
there,
water,
but when, yeah.
Yes, and what's happened, and Bank of America, they have over 3 million customers.
Wow.
And it cycles into a bank account. And when they went to look into the bank account, they had about $3 to $4 million in there. So from that time onwards, where there was a law that actually requires the federal agencies to perform an IT security audit yearly. And if there were findings, and then sometimes their budgets are reduced, and it goes to Congress. There's a law. So this whole thing about and basically what is a financial audit? What is a financial audit? Actually, so what is a forensic audit? A forensic audit is basically a detailed examination and analysis of like financial records or data or any other evidence to identify potential fraud or mispresentation or any other irregularities. That's about it. And what are some of the objectives of doing a financial audit? Is to detect and prevent fraud. You know, when you do IT security audits, one of the main things is to put in controls. You have to make sure that the system has controls that will first prevent these fraud and all those things. And if it can't prevent, it can detect in a timely fashion so that you can remedy, so you can remedy the fraud or the situation that happened. And the research has also shown clearly that 80% of these fraud and things that happens is internal. 80% is internal. It's not external. They also have the hackers, and the other 20% is like, so we call it social engineering, where somebody will call saying that somebody from the outside will call you and say, look, I work in the IT room, I need to change your password, and so give me your password. And then somebody who is not very advanced, they will just hand the password over to the person, and then they go in there, or you go and write your password something. So we have what we call this security awareness training that we give people as well. So these are things. So I can't see for the life of me why they wouldn't want them. And the second one, apart from basically to detect and prevent fraud, it's also to gather evidence if there are any legal this thing, yes, and also evaluate. Equally importantly, to evaluate the internal controls and governance of the system. Because right now, when you look at it, the systems, it used to be with XDL.
Yes.
So SDL will have the source code. And if you have the source code, nobody can change or unless they give you the rights or to go in the access and rights. And in IT security audits, we have something where we look at your segregation of duties. So if your daily job functions does not fit for you to get certain rights and access, you will not get it. So, for instance, Jim Mensah, who is a commissioner of, if her daily job functions are not required to have access to maybe to transfer this thing, they won't give her access. Unfortunately, they took and normally these source codes actually, if they put it in an escrow, like having an escrow account, so that you cannot touch it, neither side. If you're going to touch it, you all go there. You go there, and there has to be this thing, it's put in an escrow. So nobody can fund with this. Unfortunately, they got rid of the SDL and then moved everything into internally. And there's this thing going around that they got an MPP guy, staunch MPP guy, who became the director of IT.
Yeah, it's not a rumor.
I'm just that's what I've heard. And others, the consultant, apparently is an MPP guy, and all these boss man, and So even if it's a perception, it's a reality, and the fact that internally most of these things happen from the internal staff.
Yeah.
So there's cause to concern. And if you look at all the things that Honorable NDC have been raising, it's very, very, very serious. Extremely serious. That can, can cause mayhem and elastic. Can you imagine if you go to go and to vote, and then your name is not there? And the reason why they're calling for all these forensic audit, and I say including IT security audits, to look at whether all the internal controls are in place, is that if you don't take, the systems administrators have all the rights and access, and so they can even go in after working hours, 2 hours, and then do things, transfer things, do whatever they want to do. And who's watching the watchman? Nothing. So normally what we some of the controls that we ask for is to make sure that there are audit trails.
Audit trails?
There are audit trails in there.
Okay, thank you, Vivi, thank you.
I've been doing this thing for...
The transfers are no audit trails.
No audit trails. And what NDC got, it's kind of this Kodio or something saying that NDC, Joaba, and just look at what they have gotten. No. What they have gotten is just the tip of the iceberg. So all this, the whole entire system needs to be audited. What do they have to hide? It should actually be a routine, yearly thing, periodic thing, that if there's a financial audit, there should be an IT security audit. So what do they have to hide? So I beg of my own sister and friend, Jean, I require to make sure that we get a transparent, clean register, and then whoever wins. Yeah. Look at these BDVs or something that are missing.
Yes.
And you say what? We have to make sure that there are controls in place so that they cannot use it, go log in and do all sorts of things. It's all blocked. The internal controls that, yes, it's a very serious matter. You can't joke with it. Yeah. And incidentally, when you meet my brothers and sisters from the MPP, they'll tell you I bet in him said, yeah, we need to be him. That's what they keep telling you. They say, oh, Charlie, they man call you. That's what they keep telling you.
I say that I reply them by saying that whatever stolen from a man who is not asleep.
And the thing too, if you are going to steal somebody, you come and warn the person that I'm coming to steal you, and the person also will just be sleeping, what you are doing. But it shows how desperate they are.
Yeah.
It shows how desperate they are. And I just want to congratulate the NDC for doing such a good job. And what they have seen is just the tip of the iceberg. And it's kind of absolutely crazy to ask them to bring their own, what they have found, so that you can work on it. And I was watching the Saturday program that Sabi Jenfi, and the Electoral. Oh, it was pathetic and sad. And if you look at all the violence that gone on in Wali Wali and the rest, even internal.
Yeah.
How much more? So, please, we want peace. Peaceful election. And I know that Jim will do the right thing. And for us, that's why even this whole thing, Alan Chematin from his GTP is saying that, look, the president has too much power. And the president just, is able to nominate all these, the IGP, the Chief Justice, the EC, commissioners, and all these things. If the president nominates you, you do the president's bit. Or the president, that's the perception. The president is not going to nominate somebody who will work against him or eventually her interest. No, it defies logic. So in order, whether you're doing the right thing, just open it up. Let's do it, seal it, and that's it. So Alan says that, look, when he comes, he's going to abolish the Council of State and basically replace it with the second chamber. The second chamber will consist of basically key stakeholders, groups like the faith-based organizations who have the traditional authorities, the professional bodies, artisans, gender-based organizations, the private sector, labor unions, academia, people from the diaspora, and people with disability. All these people who occupy the second chamber. And he will limit, or he will transfer some of the powers of the presidency to them. So in terms of who nominates or who elects something like the EC or Chief Justice, it will be given to the second chamber that comprises all these people to do it. So that the president and the second chamber, they can, like even the OSP. Yeah, the OSP, the second chamber will nominate. And right now, even the OSP, he gets his powers, or Attorney General's powers that has been given to him. In just a few years that has been. So where is that whole thing? And you have all these corruption, there's SHRAG, there's CID, all these. So even with the second chamber and the OSP and all these people, they'll have the right to even prosecute the president. They knew this thing. So I'll just say, look, we need, as soon as possible, we need a full, transparent register, so they should go with the audits. And we are fortunate. We don't have issues with money, because the UNDP is very happy to support the process.
They're using their own money to do it.
And I support, yes, and I support what NDC is saying, that, look, we should bring the experts from the different parties. And I'm here, yes, absolutely. Yes, it's my profession.
So we're not even saying, you don't understand the NDC. And when I hear people try to defend, it's a cringe. They don't understand what we're talking about. And they don't understand what is at stake.
Yes.
It's Ghana. We've seen what election disputes have done to countries. We don't want it to happen to us in Ghana here. We say, let's do the things properly. Fortunately, we've got 79 days. Let's take some days out of the and do that. Now, you displayed the register. The exhibition of the register is gone. And there are still difficulties. The only way that you can clear our minds that these difficulties have been addressed is to open it up. Make it open. Let someone express and he's actually articulated what we have been saying very, very well. We're not only saying forensic audit of the register, we're even saying the system, the controls. Okay? Because if somebody in Pussycat can sit down and transfer people, how? How is it possible? How is it possible? Yeah, so, in fact, I think that good reason will prevail, and the Electoral Commission, like you have said, will see the need to do what is proper in the circumstances so that we can all move along. We do not want, our democracy has come this far. We don't want to reverse it. I have said that even though democracy is not the best form of government, it's really the best form of government that you can live under, because we sit down here and we talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talk. If it were some other form of government, don't close our station. Yeah. Don't close our station. So no. We want our democracy. We want our democracy. We want the proper things being done.
All right, I'll do a few more messages. Good morning, host. Why is EC running away from a forensic audit when they have nothing to hide? We cannot trust the Vote Regain Commission, that is hell-bent on rigging the aid for Kufado and Zache Mafia. Ghanaians will not accept another SAL or stolen mandates born out of the comedy of errors of the EC. MPP never again. Pawili, thank you, Pawili, for your message. Good morning, bless you. This Tete guy still be at EC when he, as a director who supervised a register with plants and animals representing humans, didn't say anything then, and now gets promoted to a deputy commissioner only to now say this in public. Indeed, I believe he should be prosecuted. Joe Kobana from Takrade. Thank you, Joe, and good morning to the people of Takrade. Bonjour, Pan-African TV. If NDC wants to win the 2024 election, they should listen to the electorates. The electorates see what is going on, but they are not specialists in computer, but they see and their ears work. They love their lives and the NDC as well. More problem with the EC. Walai. Kucho from Kumasi. Thank you, Kucho, for your message. Good morning. Blessed greetings to your panelists this morning. I bet you if the EC opens this register for audit, heaven may break loose. The secrecy is a sign. Come 7th December elections, IGP and his people will have little work to do, because we, the NDC, will protect this election with all our strength, might, soul, and life. Enough is enough. Evans sent this from Zebila in the Boko West District. Thank you, Evans, for your message. Good morning, bless them, your panelists. They tried building a national cathedral to win God's favor and failed. Illegal transfer of voters has leaked. Deletion of voters from the voters register has backfired. The last option is to create a new district, which they think will surely succeed by conjuring votes for them in the upcoming elections in about 80 days. This God we have is neither MPP nor corrupt. A forensic audit will clear all doubts about the voters register, because if you have nothing to hide, you will be prepared for an external audit. What the NDC is revealing is just a tip of the iceberg. From a nationalist, Harrison in Tamale. Thank you, Harrison. Hearty regards to all of you watching from Tamale. Good morning, bless. Randolph Dauphin from Freetown in Sierra Leone. Please pass on my sincere congratulations to KOD, our future vice president. Okay, thank you, Randolph Dauphin, for your message. This one here also says, good morning, Pan-Africa TV. If Ghana were some country somewhere in the world, the biggest hole in the world that Nanado has used Ghana's money, $58 million to dig here, and all those involved and all his corrupt officials would have been in jail now. Okay, thank you for your message. It's well heard. Good morning. Bless. I want to use this opportunity to congratulate KOD for that great opportunity given him. He's a great asset to Ghanaians, and I bid him well. Nanado must be set out for JM to rescue us. EC must be taken on for telling us that animals and plants were found in the voters register. Seidu John Paul, former SRC president, Tamale Technical University. Okay, thank you for your message. Good morning. I am Macarius from Tamale. Could it be that the EC was so convinced about the Reagan plan? That's why she said that voting would end at 3 p.m. and elections declared within 24 hours. Regards to my old boy, Honorable Inusa Fuseini. This one came from... Good morning to you once again. The EC staff led by Jane Mensah should know from today that the conditions of Ghanaians now lie in their hands concerning this year's general election. If they dare to rig the election, Ghana will be in flames. From Amos in Asinfusu. Okay, thank you, Amos. Let me read this last one. Bless, where is Masa Kwesi? Some of us miss him so much. Today, Thursday, he's supposed to be on the show. He should stop going to OKFM and Peace FM. Hey, he's not even in Ghana to start with, to be going to OKFM and Peace FM. He's not in Ghana at all. He's not been in Ghana for the past month and a half, and so. But he'll be returning very soon. So I can assure you that you see Masa Kwesi Pratt on the show very, 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 very soon. This one came from Jonas. Right. Thank you, Jonas Jesse, for your message. Let's look quickly at what will be a final topic, the conversation on the NAPCO trainees, their allowances that haven't been paid for quite some time now, and they are threatening demonstration before the election if their arrears are not paid. Honorable Yunusa, briefly.
Well, you see, for NAPCO, it was not a signature project of the MPP that it came with the Ajamkwa budget. That the then Minister for Finance, Kenneth Oriata, came and announced that they were going to start the policy of establishing the Nation Builders Corps. He called it NAPCO. Yeah. So we had always said that this clearly was just a way to funnel public resources to party foot soldiers, and that the policy did not have a head and a tail. Well, so many years down the line, we are seeing the problems because there was no blueprint for the policy. I mean, you didn't know what clearly the policy was about. And when Ghana started running into difficulty, they could not even pay them because the work was non-existent. They were not doing any particular work. They just to keep party foot soldiers busy, gathering them together on national days to march at the Independence Square, and also wear their NAPCO t-shirts to show and they were largely MPP sympathizers to show to the world that the government was doing something. It's like a charade. I think that now that they have petitioned the Peace Council for their payment, I think they're in the right direction, because I don't think that the future NDC government will pay any of such debts. I don't think so.
I know the movement for change, particularly, they are not happy about NAPCO. Their leader isn't happy about NAPCO, especially for the fact that if you look at the resources that was allotted to NAPCO, absolutely, and you look at what was given to the one district, one factory, our 400 million Ghana cedis, and you look at what was allotted to NAPCO, I mean, the disparity, very, very big. But
NAPCO was not supposed to achieve anything. But yes. No, but like I always say of my friend Alan Chirabate, very early in the day, he ought to have seen that he was being sabotaged. Very early in the day.
Oh, he saw that.
Yeah, so why did he continue to work with the government?
Oh,
very early in the day.
Explain that.
Very early. And no, I don't need that explanation, because I told him himself at the Independence, at the National Theatre, when I met him one day, I said, "But what are you doing in this government?" Because clearly they are sabotaging you. They are making sure, and they've drawn rings around you.
Yeah.
To
stifle.
Yeah. And then you were still there.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, NAPCO. NAPCO, for me, it wasn't even a 419. It was a 4110. And basically, it was the vice president, it was him who set it up. And we need to actually audit the about the money that they yes.
Yeah. And what they achieved.
That's close to 4 billion Ghana cedis. Where NAPCO, where 1D1F, only 400 million.
Yeah.
And you know, Honorable, when after campaigning 1D1F, And then when we came, when MPP, sorry, I'm not. But when I was, we came to power, 2017, quickly they took 1D1F away from Honorable Alan Chimatin. And then they took the presidency.
And give it to her.
And then, no, it wasn't like I could say, gift to Krebu.
And
then by the time when you go there, potato chips business plan. Until they realize, coming into late 2019, that nothing has been done. And then they turn it to the ministry.
Yeah.
And only 400 million that they put it in. And remember, 1D1F, it's not the government. The government don't build the industry. It is a private initiative. Private investors bring their money, decide where they want to invest. The government gives them incentives, like tax, breaks, and if they want to, duty on equipment and machinery. And one of the most significant things was to resource certain banks where when these business go to get some facilities, the interest rate is capped at 20%. And then the government will pay 50% of it, so 10%. So the business will end up, paying 10% of the interest rate to help them. And the other one was to help businesses who have collapsed, like Akokodako, farms, who they were doing, but they had to help them. So you see a lot of businesses, this company has been there for a long time, why is there 1D1F? And also businesses that have created new line of business, like Casapreco, they were in alcohol now, they went into soft drinks. So if you go to Abuakwa, where they built people like that. And they did not put anything in. And NAPCO, why I say it's a 411 is, if it's a job, then you have to get a salary, right? Mm-hmm. But in this case, what? It's what? Allowance.
Allowance.
That's why when they went to the Labour Commission and all this, there's no act supporting it. There's no law that you are employee. So it's a scam.
They had to petition Peace Council.
So they have just put that close to 4 billion that they put in NAPCO into the 1D1.
That's what I've always been saying. The MPP, with the greatest respect, they implement policies as if they sleep, dream, get up and then implement. You want to create jobs. You have got 1D1F. And you know that if you put the money there, the companies will expand. And when the companies expand, they will need labor.
Exactly.
And
they will employ these,
and pay their salary.
Yeah.
You said, no. We're going to establish a nation builders co. What they are going to build, we don't know. And they give them 4 billion.
Yes.
And now you can't even pay them. You can't even pay them.
I'm able to come to Alan why he didn't leave.
Yeah.
For a very good reason.
Yeah.
Because he was embarked. So since he saw that they closed them, because all these things were very popular. So knowing, having his international connections, and he's one of the smartest guys you can meet him in the world. Basically, I'm not joking. I mean, he went to this school when he was 9 years old. By 22, he was a senior executive or manager at UAC, now Unilever, at 22 years old. And 38 years old, 94. They were looking for the 100 most.
Yeah.
In the world.
Yeah.
He was one of the most 100.
I've read about that.
Yes. And the same Nelson Mandela. They said he was 38 years old. They mentioned that there are 7 experts. So he has a national Talo and all these things. America was a diplomat, the ambassador. He was the one who orchestrated. So what he did was, he said, look, I'm going to use my brain, my international connections, integrity that I have in the international community to bring. So what? He bought the automobile, right? Toyota, Nissan. Yesterday evening, you had the Volkswagen. Yes, who was actually frustrated. They were frustrating him something. Yeah, got all this. And the most important thing is that eventually we are going to move into components manufacturing. And I'm coming. And also, you know, his this thing that he did was to get the World Bank and South Korea government together to build the second industrial city. It's the biggest project in Ghana. He even went to his he took them, the World Bank representatives and South Korea government officials to Otunfo. To the project is called the Greater Kumasi Industrial City, 5,000 acres in Ejuso and Dwabin, where he's 10 anchor industries, that is pharmaceutical, these car manufacturing, they're all going to be resided there. It's the biggest project, the second industrial. That's why he had to wait. He also bought 58 1D1F enable youth factories. Now he got young people together, they form a business. And he got the EU, I'm just saying that. So he wasn't just sitting there. This thing he did on his not 1 penny of government.
He was thinking about the
greater growth Ghana, and he achieved all those things.
Right.
And I want just to end. The solution, Allah has a solution for the youth in general, because look, we have over 300,000 people coming out of tertiary and all, and no work. So when President Allen comes in, one of his solution is to start up what we call the start your own business for the graduates, small business through, and it will be funded because it's a GTP. We have funded by the Youth Entrepreneurship Development Fund. So start your own business. The other thing is to install 100,000 health screening booths across the country to do all this high blood pressure, this thing. And these people, these kids, the SHS graduates and tertiary graduates, they are going to own those booths, and they'll do a kind of a work and pay. So, but they will do screening, diabetes, for if it's situated in the marketplace and all these things. So that will create job. And also, he's going to get the banks to allocate an equivalent of 10% of their profits after tax to provide new collateral-free concession lending to youth-owned MSMEs engaged in import substitution, export development, agri value chain, and general manufacturing. 3, he's going to establish a traders bank that those MPP and DC, they've all copied us. Remember, GTP came about 20 months ago. So we are going to establish a traders bank where it will deepen the financial inclusion for entrepreneurs, including the formal sector and the youth as well. Also, we are going to leverage on this Ghana Sovereign Wealth Fund to be established to support innovative financing arrangement for startup companies. That's the youth. And also, it will provide this even that NAPCO should have also done. Provide tax relief and training grants to companies, for companies that employ new and young graduates, to cover cost of skills training and build the experience of young people who enter the job market. So this is what they should have done.
Right.
And last but not the least, to develop special programs for return and deployment of high-skilled Ghanaians from the diaspora. Very important, including your diasporans and the new Ghana Bank's Skills Bank program to reverse the brain drain. Because some of us had to come back home to Ghana because we wanted whatever we've learned about our professions to come and
help.
And create. Yes.
Right.
So
right.
That's my take on it.
Right. Thank you
so
so
I
much.
hope they should just pay them.
Right.
Pay their kids and.
Right. I'm sure they would. I have a strong feeling that about a month or some few weeks to elections, they'll pay them.
But Ghana, we are bankrupt. We are bankrupt. And the scary thing is that after we are leading the negotiations with the IMF, what they came there, one of the key conclusions people don't make it is that we have deferred all our debt payments to 2026. 2026 How scary. And then they keep promising they'll give you free this, I'll give you free that. I just heard them yesterday or something at the house somewhere. We'll do the sea defense. Where is he going to get the money from? It's a 4-1-10.
All right. Thank you so much, Fifi Oforiata, for your time this morning. Our time is up. Thank you, Honorable Mr. Fuseni. Good to see you back on the show. Our viewers have thoroughly enjoyed today's edition of the show. Unfortunately, Elvis was unable to join us. He had a breakdown. His car broke down while on his way here, so he had to quickly call the mechanic to get.
Where is the vice presidential
candidate? Oh, so right now it appears this chair, it will be very difficult for him to return to the seat as the host of the morning
But
show.
the vice presidential candidate is hosting the program.
Oh no.
We are going to adore him very soon.
I think the adoring ceremony is tomorrow, and
him.
you'll be looking forward to seeing you there.
What was it?
It's going to happen at the press center.
Press center
tomorrow. So
Right.
Please, Honorable, come and see your own.
His
The street man.
His political godson. You know he looks up to you so much.
And he's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy.
He's smart.
Very outgoing.
And he's the future. Remember, Alan says he's a transitional leader. So he has to bring. That's why he decided to choose somebody between 40 and 50. That's what he said. So he can trust it. Ekwame is 40. But he thinks and acts and all the things like musician, entrepreneur, or a breath walk, and a lawyer. Damn. A journalist and a good one as that.
I'm God. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you, Fifi, and thank you, Honorable Unisa. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, and also to our cherished viewers. I've enjoyed every bit of the show, and I'm sure you have too. I'll catch you tomorrow, Friday edition. Honorable A.B. Fuseni hopefully will be joining us tomorrow, so you should look forward to that. Do have a pleasant day. Bye bye.